What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Wednesday morning episode of the Daily Juice Podcast. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all socials at Sports Talk Matt, and this podcast being brought to you by OmahaSteaks.com. The end of the year sale going on right now at OmahaSteaks.com. The holiday sale went so well, they're going to extend this to the end of the year. It still is 50% off site-wide and $30 off when you guys use that code JUICE at checkout. That saves you $30 off the already 50% off on all the great meat packages and their end of year sale going on right now. They have a great number of things that are discounted and marked down already, as well as 50% off, as well as that $30 off at checkout. So a great time to use it. Minimum purchase may be required. Use JUICE at checkout for omahasteaks.com. All right, somebody asked me, is this my childhood bedroom? No, this is not my childhood bedroom. I actually never lived in this house. I went to college, and then my mom and stepdad moved into this house, and then I've never actually lived here. So this is my brother's room. Not my room, but it is a bedroom, yes, here in Andover, where I will be taping for the next couple of nights, and then I head to Connecticut for a trip to New York, so I'll be doing that. And this is the problem with this podcast. It is currently 8:21 on the East Coast, which is 5:21 on the West Coast. The games I bet just started. One of them just started. Another one hasn't started yet. The basketball game involving the Rockets, that game's going on right now. The football game that I bet has seen tremendous line movement, but the game kicks off in Phoenix. Like, I could not do this job here. It's just absolutely impossible. I could not do the Daily Juice living on the East Coast because these games are just too darn late. I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know how I did it. I lived on the East Coast for, I don't know what, till I was 24. I was in the Eastern till past 20 years. I haven't lived in the Eastern time zone, but last 8 living on the West Coast. I moved to Vegas on January, well, it was like December 26th of 2014, but really January of 2015 is when I moved officially to Las Vegas, and I've been there now here going into January of 2024. I've been there for quite a long time, 8 years. So going on my 9th year of living there. So I am very much accustomed to the West Coast and West Coast start times. So I'm taping this at a time that, I normally tape the Juice between 8 and 11, somewhere in there. And I mean, if I'm going to wait, I'm going to tape this at 11:30 on the East Coast, and I'm going to be way past asleep here with all the traveling and everything else I've been doing. There's no way I'm going to see 11 o'clock on the East Coast, let alone 11:30 or 12 o'clock. So that's how this is going to go. So I have no idea what we did yesterday. So that's why I'm just going to give you 2 bets every podcast, every day throughout the vacation. If there's an extra bet that I like, I'll throw it in. I'll tell you about it. But I just have 2 plays to give you guys here, but I don't know how we did yesterday, so I'm not sure. But I've got 2 college football bets that I want to give you guys here for games happening tonight. And let's start with an 8 p.m. kick in the Holiday Bowl between Louisville and USC. Total is 59 in this game. Line is 7. Now, the Holiday Bowl is notorious for points. Just notorious. USC is 4-1 away from home this year to the over. Louisville is 3-3. 7-3. USC ended the year, but their final 2 games went under as their offense kind of went a little south, but they were on a streak where they had 6 straight games go over. 3 of the last 4 for Louisville went over, but their last game against Florida State in the ACC championship game went way under. 16-6 was the final in that game. We bet over in that game, if you remember, and it came in. So I'm staying away from the totals of these because these offenses haven't been trending in the right direction. But there's been a lot of players in the transfer portal for both these teams. This is that time of the year. But I read something this morning, actually, that was kind of stunning about previewing this game, about the number of people who really are questioning what USC looks like and the fact that they think that Lincoln Riley is punting on this job, that he's sort of sitting back and he's not taking it seriously, and that things might be not so great for USC. And it got me really thinking. I started to kind of look a little bit deeper into all of this, and I realized that both these teams are pretty bad on the road ATS. Louisville, 1-5 ATS away from home. USC, 1-4 ATS. Why is Louisville favored by 7 points? That seems extremely heavy. This seems like it's going to be a 3 or a 4 point game on either side. And I don't know if there's that big of a talent discrepancy from Louisville to USC. And I know you could say, well, Matt, look at, Caleb Williams isn't playing. And so, like, what's USC's offense going to look like? I don't know. I think the backup quarterback situation is okay for USC. And I think they're going to be able to move the football. And I don't know, maybe the defense for USC will step up here and win this game outright. I just think people are jumping ship a little bit too quickly, and I didn't like the way Louisville played in the last game against Florida State. There was a real speed differential in that game, and I think USC may have the speed differential as well. It's in San Diego. You would expect a lot of Trojan fans to be down there for the Holiday Bowl. You'd expect it to be somewhat of not a hostile environment, but you expect quite a few USC fans and sort of a home field advantage for USC. I don't know if they win the game. I just think 7 points is too heavy for Louisville. I don't trust them. Maybe this is a hate bet because of what happened in the last game, that they did not. We bet 2 units on Louisville to win the game outright, and then they lost to Florida State. I don't know how good Louisville actually is. USC +7 for 1.1 units. And then to the Texas Bowl. That game will kick off at 9 p.m. Eastern time. That is a 6 o'clock start on the West Coast, 8 o'clock start in Houston, Texas. For this one, Texas A&M against Oklahoma State. This number has completely flipped. If you bet this early, bravo, you got plus money on Oklahoma State. I'm coming in here late, but I don't think it really matters. As long as this number doesn't get to 3, I think we're okay. Texas A&M has a brand new coaching staff, and they have so many players in the transfer portal. I mean, it is wild to watch the transfer portal. They just, even with their full complement of players, A&M this year was 1-3-1 ATS on the road. Okie State was 3-3, but Oklahoma State played pretty well in the middle part of the year, and then sort of things spiraled for them. They lost 2 of their last 4. They didn't cover in 3 of their last 4, but they beat BYU and they beat Houston in this very city that they are in. They beat them, laying 6.5 points, winning by 13. The loss to LSU for Texas A&M pretty much sealed the fate for Jimbo Fisher. He's out, interim coach in place, players leaving all over the place. We really have no idea what the talent level for Texas A&M here. This is more of a fade on A&M than a bet on Oklahoma State. But, nobody knows what to expect out of the Aggies, and that's why this number has moved so dramatically. A&M was favored. Now they're dogs. As long as you don't get to 3, I think even 2.5 is okay, but 3, I wouldn't bet this, okay? It's got push potential written all over it. But we have seen some dramatic line movement here in the last 2 days. This game in particular with dramatic line movement. And I think you can lay the 2 points with Oklahoma State. And I think you got a chance to, because of who is left A&M, you could see a blowout. You could, depending, I don't know how much A&M is going to want to be in this game. The number of players, I can't even list all the players. There was another one, as a wide receiver yesterday who bailed, who right before the game bailed. Like, this is just an A&M team that just, I don't think they want any part of this bowl game. Oklahoma State's going in there with a good offense, averaging over 30 points per game, a pretty good defense. It's not outstanding, but a pretty decent defense, giving up about 30 points per game. But A&M defensively, that's why they are favored on paper. They were the better team this year, but not with the players that have left this program and the head coaching situation and everything else going into A&M. I'm taking Oklahoma State. Give me OSU -2 for 1.1 units. Okay, so nothing in the NBA really jumps out at me, and that's mostly because the numbers aren't really out for tomorrow from a schedule standpoint. If there's anything that I do like for tomorrow, I may jump in and tell you guys about it, but it's just too early in the day to kind of come in to jump on it. Philadelphia's at Orlando. That game is pretty interesting. Phoenix is at Houston. If Houston does well here tonight for us, we may come back. They'll be on a back-to-back, but we may take the Rockets again, depending on the price. So that game obviously in action at the moment. For the Houston Rockets, who have been very, very good at home. So we'll kind of watch the NBA a little bit. I haven't had a good feel for hockey, and I'm not watching it as much as I could. So this may be kind of a time for me to take a little bit of a breath, if you will, with hockey, and then come back after the break, after the vacation, come back with the NHL. But for right now, I'm going to pause on that. So 2 bets, both of them in college football. USC +7 in the Holiday Bowl, and Oklahoma State -2 in the Texas Bowl for us, both for 1.1 units. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all socials at Sports Talk Matt every single morning. The Daily Juice Podcast, always being brought to you by OmahaSteaks.com.